Hello friends, it's Keena on the Daily. We're back with the third day of the 30-day challenge, and today I chose to read a story. It's a story that I wrote. I was actually asked to come and read a story for some elementary school children, and I didn't have a story to read because my children are grown, so I decided to write a story. It's pretty vivid, and if you're an adult and you have a very vivid imagination, you probably would appreciate it. Otherwise, you can just share it maybe with your children or pass it on to someone else. It's very short, it's not long, but I do want to reiterate why I am doing the 30-day challenge. It's because with all of the time that we have with the social distancing and sheltering in, I wanted to do something that's fun and different that would give me personally an opportunity to do something that's a little more positive as opposed to focusing on the things that we cannot do. So join me in this challenge and like and subscribe the video and be sure and share it. So now with the story, the title of the story is Nevaeh, and I do own the copyright to this story and all rights are reserved, but hope that you enjoy it, and here we go. Once upon a time, there was a king. He had a son who was a prince, and they ruled in the kingdom of Nevaeh. This kingdom was big and beautiful. It was also very far away. The streets were made of gold, and there were colorful houses throughout the kingdom. All the homes were the color of the rainbow. There were bright red and yellow homes, green and blue homes, and other colors too. Trees lined the streets, and they all had colorful leaves that hung like teardrops made of glass, and the flowers all had blooms that looked like cotton candy. Everyone in the kingdom had pets. The pets could roam the kingdom freely, and everybody loved them. There were big, beautiful birds, horses, elephants, puppies, and dogs of all kinds. There were cats and giraffes, as well as lions and sheep. They were all friendly, and you could pet them or ride them at any time. The children were free to roam about and explore the many wonders of the kingdom. They rode the winged horses and would go on adventures, flying about and racing to see who could fly their horses the fastest. They would also ride in cars that were like clouds, but they spent most of their time in the eat and sweet shop where the kingdom food was. This food was available at all times. They had yellow puffballs that had a taste similar to chocolate, only better. The flat cakes were light and fluffy like cotton candy. All the food was good and sweet, and you could eat it at any time, even in the middle of the night. The king was very generous. He wanted everyone on earth to have what he and his only son, the prince, and the people in the kingdom had. He came up with a plan to send his son to every town, every village and city in search of ways he could give everyone what they needed. Some people would need food, some money, others would need healing, and some people were just sad all the time. This made the great king sad, thinking there were people who didn't have or live like the people in his wonderful kingdom. So he came up with a plan. He sent his son, the boy prince, out with the mighty warriors who were invisible to help the people on earth so that they could have what the king had to offer, so they would be happy too. The boy prince was named Christopher. Christopher's first stop was in a village where he met a boy named Nomus. Nomus and his friends Maggie and James were hanging out at the lake fishing. They fished for pleasure and also for food. This particular day, the bullies in the village had taken all the fish they had caught earlier in the morning. They had to try again in hopes of getting more fish, but were not having any luck. Christopher came at the right time and was able to get them to go out and try his fishing techniques, and they caught more fish than they ever dreamed. While fishing, they also came up on an old chest. It was buried and full of treasures. The chest had enough money, jewels, also diamonds that would supply the village and their families with all they needed for a very long time. Christopher told Nomus and his friends, "Listen, from this time on, you will always have more than enough for everyone in your village if you would only believe that what happened today would always happen." He said the key to having more was believing that even though they would not be able to see Christopher and his invisible warriors anymore, they would never be without if they would only believe. Christopher left his new friends with the treasures, and they had a new feeling of hope. They loved Christopher. He was like family now, and they wanted to tell the world about their experience with the boy prince. So all the people celebrated by having a village festival. The festival was set up with food, lights, and a ton of games for the children to play. They had all kinds of food available, and they gave away many prizes just for the fun of it. They really wanted to share what they had and make other people happy too. They invited all the people from other cities and towns to come and share in the wealth. Christopher became a legend. They told the story of Christopher and his visit to their village for many years to come. The people were happier than they had ever been and thought of Christopher often. They knew even though he wasn't with them, he would always be in their heart. The end. I wrote this story because in this elementary school, I was not able to take anything in the school that pertained to God or Christ. So I wrote the story, and it's a modern day version of the story of Jesus. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that you will share it, and don't forget to like and subscribe.